not many athletes have died and come back to life. I mean, we're looking at a select few list here. We're looking at guys, Jesus died, came back to life. And then I can't really think of another one of an athlete. DeMar Hamlin.
And the Niners missed the playoffs. It's my take.
This is so Homer. Oh, my God.
No way.
Come on. Yes. I've got the Commanders over the Eagles.
No, please, everyone be quiet.
Hello, everyone. We made it. Football is here. Football is back. The NFL is back, and we're here to break it all down. Welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast. This is episode, I don't remember what it is, but it's the NFL preview episode. So that's all that matters. We're going to break down all the divisions, give our playoff picks, and ultimately Super Bowl winners and MVP. I think we're going to do that too. I'll be honest, I'm not prepared for that at all. But let's talk some ball, Cam. The NFL is finally here. I forgot. At the end, we're going to do our picks too, our Week 1 picks, and then I think we'll explain it later. But we're going to give betting lock totals too. But we'll explain that later in the show. A little competition at the end. And Cam, what are your thoughts on football being back?
Well, Lucas, last week was probably the first real Saturday of it being back, at least college football. Obviously, we had the preview episode, and I'm not going to lie, my roommates left, so I was just left alone in the apartment, and it just became a football dormitory where I had 3 TVs going, of all just college football, Colorado, TCU, Fresno State, Purdue, and Iowa, Utah State on the other TV, just grinding ball, missing ball, loving ball. And I was so glad it was back. I really missed it. And the best thing about Labor Day weekend, Luke, is not only do you have football Thursday, which I went to the Mizzou game. They clamped down on South Dakota, which was nice. To see. Put up more points than we both expected. But not just that.
I predicted 41, so not.
Oh, did you? I thought you said 34. I couldn't remember if you said 34 or 40 something.
No, 41.
Anyway, so we had football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and which leaves us only 2 days without football. We're recording this on Wednesday. It'll be out Thursday. Only 2 days without football, and that's just so perfect. It's just enough time to recover and regroup for the big one.
Catch up on some life stuff.
Exactly. It gives you a second to breathe before you jump into Thursday night football where Lions and Chiefs and basically whatever happens in this game, we'll just over-exaggerate to no end until both of these teams play again in Week 2. And, after Thursday night football, you get that dosage of NFL being back, and it's just running through your blood. And then by Sunday, you just can't wait to sit down and watch 7 hours of football with Scott Hansen. And you're just rooting for the Hansen, and I'm just glad it's back, Luke. It's literally the best time of the year. It's the best time of the year.
Yeah, now that you're like settled into school and fall weather is kicking in, it's getting a little colder. It's all coming together right now. And but yeah, let's talk some ball. You want to start off with the AFC or the NFC? We got a little bit of both going in the Thursday night game, a little inter-conference matchup, if you will. Oh, that's a beautiful sound.
Yeah, it was. It was a beautiful sound. It should. It definitely should. I think we should start off in the AFC. I think we should start off with a banger here, AFC East action. Let's just jump on into maybe possibly the most confusing division in all of football this year. In terms of, it is just a toss-up. There's just 3 really, really, really good teams on the eye test. Obviously, we haven't really seen what the Jets in this new system is going to look like, but via the eye test and Hard Knocks, it looks like they should be pretty good. But yeah, and maybe the worst team in this division is somehow Bill Belichick's New England Patriots, and that they're not going to put out the worst product. They're probably at least going to be sub 500. You would expect.
7
and
or 8
that's
wins.
and that's why this conference is just so crazy, because the other three teams, I mean, their expectations are through the roof a little bit. Two of them playoff teams. Jets expected playoff team this year by a lot of people. Looking to see if Tua can survive a full season via, his brain making it through the whole season.
Not being concussed.
Yeah, and seeing if Josh Allen can finally get it done in the playoffs, because thus far he has not. And then you have, to some people, the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers, in a new city, and looking to see what he can do. So let's just jump into it, Luke. Let's see here.
What's your division?
Talk win totals here first, or just a pure winner of the division?
I think we just go with division order, and then we'll do win totals when we evaluate the team specifically. What's your order here? Who you got winning?
I still have the Bills winning it. I just came to this conclusion like yesterday. I just think they didn't lose as much as the media is saying, or making it feel like they lost. I feel like, and they had such a good year last year. They just, they had some weird stuff happen. Obviously, DeMar died while he's back. And then they just kind of got throttled by the Bengals, who are just a much more experienced playoff team. It felt like it. It looked like it as well. And that's kind of why I feel like they actually still have the most there to put out the best product. Now, this is also going to heavily rely on who's the most healthy, obviously, at the end of the season. I think that's what it's going to come down to in this division. Because the division is so deep. But I feel like the Bills might have some sneaky depth, and I think that's why they're actually going to finish at the top. Right behind them, I do have the Jets, and then I have the Dolphins, and then I have the Patriots. So pretty bold sticking the Patriots at the bottom, but that's just how crazy good this division is. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be kind of like the AL East in baseball this year, where like the Yankees are 500, but they're in last place in the division. I feel like that's kind of how the Patriots are going to be. They're going to be 7-10, 8-9, maybe even 9-8, but they're just going to come in last. I have the same thing. I was tempted to put the Dolphins in last because I'm just not big on the Dolphins this year. Although they do have Vic Fangio now as their defensive coordinator, which, if you know anything about Vic Fangio, one of the best D coordinators in the game. So I mean that's definitely going to help their defense, I would imagine. But I mean, I don't know. They just don't have a spark for me. The Jets are in second. I think they have the talent to compete for first, but their schedule is going to be a little bit difficult out of the gate. I think they're going to be a little slow rolling out of the gate. They're going to finish strong. People are going to be talking about them in the playoffs, but I mean, yeah, I got the same order as you. You talked about the Bills. FanDuel Sportsbook, which is what we're going to be using for all the odds here, win totals. 10.5 is the Bills' win total. I think that's an easy over for me. I know that they have the toughest schedule in this division. They have to play all those teams, 6 times or whatever. And they have to play all, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Jags, all those teams they got to play. But, I mean, it's the 10.5. You're telling me that they don't go at least 11-6? I would find that hard.
I'm not telling you that. Not telling you that. They had one of the toughest schedules last year, and they did just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, once they got to the playoffs, shit hit the fan, but they had one of the toughest schedules last year as well, and they did just fine, got there over. So, yeah, I think they'll be over 10.5 again as well. But look, and this is kind of just goes into the fact of things that we always wonder once football season comes around is, all 3 sports books have them at 10.5, and it's just like, what does Vegas know that we don't?
Exactly.
It's the age-old question.
Tempting me.
it's a little frightening when all three have the same number. But
it's like the NFL gave him the script for the year, and it's like Josh Allen blows out his knee week 3. And they're like, 10.5, we can get a lot of money off this. But I mean, if this team stays healthy, there's no way they take the under. And like, if their big guys stay healthy, that they have to go over. The Jets are at 9.5. I think if you have them in the playoffs, you almost have to take that over.
Yep.
And I do. So, yeah, I mean, you can't take the over on every team. I know you want to because you're like, I'm in. But I mean, this is one I think you have the over on this team too. One thing I did notice from gathering all the odds, every single team is either 11.5 or 6.5 or in between, except for the Arizona Cardinals, which we'll get to that. But I mean, it's all pretty tightly combined, which is testament to the NFL. Dolphins 9.5, same as the Jets. I have the under here.
I have the over, but I think it's just going to be like, I think the Jets and the Dolphins are both going to be like around 10-7. So yeah, and hell, I just looked at it again. I have the Patriots over as well, but it's just sitting at 8. I think they're going to win 8 games. So like it's not like they're going.
You have the whole division going over.
I have the full division. I think this is a hell of a division.
Okay.
So yes,
Patriots at 7.5. I mean, that's a damn good line for the Patriots. I have them winning 7 games, so I'm going to take the under. Also, in this tough division, I think taking the under is the safe move here, although that's betting against Bill Belichick, which doesn't tend to be a good strategy. But I'm doing it. I'm throwing out some wild takes this episode, and that's one of them. Not a Mac Jones guy. All right, let's move on to the AFC North next. Is that fun? Your division, Cam.
Yes, it is. AFC North. I know we just slobbered on the East, but year in and year out, this division has the potential to be the best division in football, and it looks like it could be that way once again. Obviously, heavily driven by the Bengals and the Ravens. A lot of people have the Ravens as sleeping giants this year as long as Lamar's healthy. Obviously, that's always a big what if.
Yeah.
But this one's always super hard to predict because
bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. The teams freaking hate each other. The fans hate each other. It's kind of like the NFC East. The winner doesn't usually stay the same all too often. It kind of rotates around more frequently, more often than not. I've got the Ravens winning the division this year, Luke. And then I have the Bengals, and then I have the Steelers, and then I have the Browns. And I think the Steelers and Browns, 3rd and 4th place, is going to come down to probably like a game against each other. I think one of them might sweep each other this year. Which is interesting to think about. Which means that the Steelers would have to get a win on the Brownie, the Elf field, which is it's not likely, but I'm gonna throw it out there. So I got Ravens first, Bengals second, Steelers third, Browns fourth.
I got Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, and Browns. And the Bengals I'm high on. We'll get to that later in the playoff talk. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think it's the year of the Burrow. So I mean, this is their window right now. This is right before they're going to have to pay a bunch of guys. I think they win the division. The Ravens, I think, are going to have a really good year, but I mean, there's some question marks there for me. That it's like there's a lot of unproven stuff with there's a lot of new people in the Ravens, and that can work really well. It typically takes a little bit to get started, though, early in the year. And then the Steelers, I mean, I think people are actually kind of respecting them this year where they weren't last year. Kenny Pickett showed flashes in the preseason. Mike Tomlin, as we know, always gets a winning record, always. So I think that the Steelers 8.5 line should be easy for almost every single gambler out there. Take that over. And then the Browns. This is a conversation that we all need to have. why are we believing in Deshaun Watson? There's a lot of Deshaun Watson believers out there. And I don't understand why you are believing in him. I mean, this guy he's a predator. I mean, he took advantage of many, many people, dozens of women he took advantage of. And the NFL suspended him 11 games. And Browns fans, now that he's back, are out there having his back. They're actually embracing his creepiness, with the bringing in the massage, the statue or whatever that they bring in. It's a little disturbing to me, and it makes me not want to root for them. The Browns are a very rootable team. They're Cleveland. They're kind of small town. They have no success. Well, as a Steelers fan, I get where that's coming from, but from a non-biased standpoint, I'm telling you right now, the Browns front office, what they did to Baker Mayfield was horrible. I mean, it was just disgusting. It's disgusting what they did to Baker Mayfield.
What's more gross, what they did to Baker or Deshaun?
I think that can be grouped in the same thing, that they pushed out Baker Mayfield, the guy who brought their franchise from the shitter. Let's remind this franchise was 0-16 not that long before they drafted Baker Mayfield. And he brought them, he won a playoff game against the Steelers, almost brought them to the AFC Championship. They were close to beating the Chiefs in that game with Chad Hennessy. And then they just kicked him. He had one bad year where he was injured. He had a torn labrum. He played through it with his guts, left it on the field, and they just kicked him out for a creep. And they traded multiple first-round picks for him. So for that reason, I am big on the Browns under 9.5. I think that's just the respectable thing to do. You got to root against them.
It's the humane thing to do. And when you look at it, Luke, it's the right thing to do. Yeah. And I just want to point this out. You're talking about unbiased person looking on the Browns franchise. I think what has happened here just in the past couple of years is you're finally getting to see the true colors of the Browns fans come out. And obviously I'm going to hate them no matter what, but I think it's nice to see some other people around the league being like, wow, we've got some real asshats over in Cleveland cheering on the Brownies. So that's nice to see it. They're finally showing their true colors. Win totals, I've got Steelers going over as well.
Yep.
Browns under, and I think the Browns only win like 6 games, which may sound harsh, but it's kind of given me the Kaepernick effect with Deshaun Watson. I know he played at the end of the season last year, but he's barely played football. And you know how we're always like, even if Kaepernick was to get signed to a team, he'd be ass because he just hasn't been in the league in so long. It's starting to give me that kind of vibe with Deshaun Watson because he just hasn't played. So I got the Browns going under. Honestly, I have the Ravens going under, and I have the Bengals going under. But the Bengals going under, I have them at 11-6. So I just don't think they're going to win 12 games.
You have the Ravens going under 10.5?
No. I said the Ravens over, but the Bengals going under. But the Bengals are probably still going to go. No, I'm sorry. Ravens over, Bengals under. Okay. Bengals are going to go probably 11-6. Ravens, I think they could shoot for the stars. So there we go.
I have the Bengals over 11.5, which is a little risky. That's a lot, but Bengals over and Ravens under. So split that division pretty evenly. AFC West. I think this one we can make it pretty quick here. There's not a lot of storylines. The Chiefs are really good. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have some stuff going into Thursday night, which we'll talk about maybe when we get to the picks. With Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. The Raiders are ass. They're going to be god-awful this year. Respectfully. I mean, their organization is in complete shambles. And once again, it's one of those things. The Browns pushed out Baker Mayfield. What they did to him was disgusting. What the Raiders did to Rich Bisaccia, disgusting. And for that reason, I'm happy that they're on their downfall right now. So, Chargers are going to be good. And Broncos. So I got the Chiefs 11.5. I think you have to take that over. It's just I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. You can't bet against that man. I mean, 12-5 is what he needs. So I got the Chiefs 1, the Chargers 2, Broncos 3, Raiders 4. I think that's a pretty standard. The Chargers I have going over their 9.5 as well. And here's my take on the Chargers. I think they're going to be the last undefeated team this year. I looked at their schedule. They got a pretty easy first few games. They're helped out with this take because they have a bye week 5. So I think they're going to start off the year 7-0, maybe even 8-0. And everyone's going to be like, oh, the Chargers are for real this year. And then they're going to start charging. They're going to get injured like they always do. And, they'll maybe they get 3 or 4 wins the second half of the year. They'll be a wild card team and they'll lose first round. That's the most Charger thing I think they can do. But that is my take on it. I think they'll be the last undefeated team.
Okay. I got a few things to sprinkle in here. I kind of forgot to do them earlier when we were talking about the Jets and the Patriots, but I think I can wrap around with that at the end. I've got the Chiefs winning the division, Luke. I think it's pretty set in stone for me. It's kind of just like clockwork every year. Even when you doubt them, like this year, once again, Travis Kelce's hyperextended his knee at practice the other day. Not great. Just a setback that the team doesn't really need.
Don't doubt him.
Chris Jones, his dick fell out at the combine. If you remember that, Luke.
That's true.
It doesn't really play into effect on what's going on right now. They just haven't reached a contract agreement, but I'd just like to point that his dick fell out at the combine every once in a while. But, we always doubt the Chiefs, and they always win the division, Luke. It's been like 5 years in a row. I do have the Broncos finishing second. Russ is back.
Oh, wow.
This is probably one of the takes I feel least confident in, but I'm going to stick with it because it's kind of fun. It's just kind of fun to be like that the Broncos are kind of back and back in the playoff mix. I like Colorado. I want to move there. I have family out there. I want the Broncos to kind of be a little bit back. I think they're going to have about the same record as the Chargers, though. So I guess if we're doing betting odds here for win totals, Chiefs over, Broncos over.
Over 8.5.
Yes, over 8.5.
Chargers 9.5.
I don't know about the Chargers at 9.5. It just worries me every year. They just get so hurt.
Yeah,
and that defense always gets so hurt. I'm gonna take
the Yankees of the AFC or the NFL. Excuse me.
I will take the. They're gonna go 10-7, Luke. I think. I don't know how many 10-7 teams I have, but I think they're gonna go 10-7. Raiders under. Now here's. Yeah, I have the whole league going 10-7.
Every team 10-7.
Raiders at 6.5. I'm taking the under. Now I do have to sprinkle this in here. Before the show started, I asked for Ron's takes on the show. The first one that pertains to the AFC West is just Chiefs no repeat, and he didn't say that about the division. He just said the Super Bowl. He just says teams don't repeat anymore. Which you know what? Sure, that's a valid take. This is the one take I was a little shocked by, if you will, Lucas. Raiders make the playoffs because of Jimmy G. Ron says he's just a straight winner.
Damn.
And he wins everywhere he goes.
He's very handsome.
And he's very hot, yes. So, yeah, that's Ron's biggest take of the NFL season is that the Raiders will be making the playoffs. So, Ron has the over on the Raiders win total. I have the under.
I hate that. I wish the worst on the Raiders. One, they screw the people over. Ron also would like to point out that Jimmy G is like 3-0 against Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah. I like to see the stats.
Ron has them making the playoffs. There you go.
All right, yeah, that's definitely a take. That's a
take.
I mean, if the Raiders line was under, or if the Raiders line was 4.5, I'd still take the under. They're going to be awful. I mean, granted, Devontae Adams is a very good player. Everyone else kind of, I mean, Josh Jacobs, good player. Running back's kind of undervalued in today's. Everyone else kind of sucks. And Josh McDaniels, really bad. He really sucks. I'm so out on the Raiders.
Yeah,
they're going to be
and
so
Chandler
bad.
Jones. Did you see the whole Chandler Jones thing?
Yeah.
Him being super pissed off at the front office and head coach for locking him out of the team gym. That was actually pretty crazy, all the stuff he was saying about that, but deleted posts. So, yeah, but.
Yeah, I mean, when you're treating a veteran, maybe Hall of Famer like that, that just shows the Raiders' true colors. They're a terrible franchise. So, yeah, I think I got the Chiefs over 11.5, Chargers over 9.5, Broncos under 8.5, and Raiders under 6.5. And AFC South. AFC South. It got quiet because we don't care about this division. Whoever wins is irrelevant. And people are high on the Jags this year. The Jags are going to be they're going to be the talk of this division because the Texans and Colts are really bad. Titans are still kind of hanging around, but their roster is really flawed. So the Jags are the clear favorite in this division. And I mean, I want to pick them, but it's just, I can't pick the Jags to repeat. I famously, after week 3 last year, declared them division champions, and it actually, in a miraculous way, turned out to be true. But this year, I mean, the Jags are just one of those franchises that are just cursed, and it's hard for me to pick them to win the division 2 years in a row. And for that, God, I don't want to. Cam, you go first. I got to think about this if I want to say this or not.
Okay, well, first off, before I get my nuggets off, I'd like to point out Ron's take. One of Ron's few takes that he gave me before the show. He just said Jaguars not going to be nearly as good as everyone thinks.
I agree.
Which is interesting because I thought Ron was always kind of just like pro-jagging off throughout his football fandom life because he did call the year that they should have went to the Super Bowl. He called it during preseason, and that was like one of the greatest calls I've ever seen from my dad. Was predicting the Jaguars to go on a deep playoff run that year. Well, he says it's not going to be that
greatest
way this
calls
year
from your dad, and it didn't even happen. That's amazing.
Didn't even happen. But here we go. You know what, Luke? I think the Jaguars are still going to win the division. I've got them winning the division. I've got. I just think it's just like a tale as old as time. I think Vrabel's going to have him right there in the picture at the very end, which is crazy because I think they're going to be ass this year. But they're going to be right there at the same time. So what's their win total here? Their win total is 7.5. They're going to go over. I think they might win 8 or 9 games. Jags, I'm going to take the under on that. I think they'll win like 9 games. Colts and Texans. So who's going to finish last in this division? Well, it's going to probably be the oh shit, man, who is it going to be? I think it's going to be the Texans. I think they're going to finish last. Colts are going to get third, and it's going to be quite the race for last place in that division, I think. But at the same time, I think both of these teams may have hit on their quarterbacks. I kind of really like AR-15, and the reason why I really do is a similar thing to why I always loved Dennis Gates when he became the head basketball coach at Mizzou. He's kind of just a football nerd. And that's what everybody's reporting is that he's a football nerd. Sometimes it doesn't work out. There's a lot of backup quarterbacks in the NFL.
About Anthony Richardson?
Yes, AR-15.
Oh, I thought you were talking about C.J. Stroud for a second. I was like, wait, didn't he get like a terrible IQ score or something like that? But
I'm not talking about. I'm not.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll get to the Stroud boy here in a second. Okay. AR-15 actually might be smart and studies his ass off, according to everybody in the front office and around the team. And I really like that. I think because even if he has a mid to very below mid first season, just like Peyton Manning did as a Colt. When you study like that, you're just bound to get better and learn from your mistakes. So I really like him, and he's just such a great athlete. He's bound to do some good things at the NFL level. And then the Texans, I have him finishing last. I think Stroud can do it, but the thing is, Stroud kind of reminds me of Haskins in terms of, they were very, very good. Don't get me wrong, Stroud was good for 2 years, 2 full years. Well, the COVID year wasn't a full year, but he was damn good that year. And Haskins was only 1 year. But it's kind of the same. Do I think Stroud was the better prospect? Yes. Obviously, that's why he went much higher in the draft. But I think it could be similar. Now, I don't think Haskins got the nod at the beginning of the season, and Stroud is. So it's going to give him more time to work out the kinks. But I don't think Stroud is going to have a good year, and people are actually going to be questioning it as we go forward. I think they need to add more around him before he ever does anything productive. That roster is just depleted. Do we like the head coach? Yes. And we think he might be able to do good things, but as of right now, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. So I'm going to take Colts under, Texans under. I had Jags under, and I had Titans over. So there you go. But Jags win the division.
Yeah, I have all that, the same stuff. And what the hell? I'm just going to throw out some takes here. All right, Titans win the division. Jags wildly underperform, which I hate because I like Doug Peterson. I like Trevor Lawrence a lot, but it's the Jags. They're gonna jag somehow, and not off either. They're not going to jag off. Colts under 6.5, finish last in the division. They're going to be awful. Anthony Richardson's going to have a very bad first year, which I hate saying because I didn't know that he was like a nerd, like a student of the game. And now that you said that, I'm like, I kind of want to get back in on him, but you know what? I'm sticking to my guns here. And Texans actually finished third. I think it's in spite of CJ Stroud, though. I disagree with you completely. Like when you said both these teams hit on their quarterbacks, I think both of them missed on the quarterbacks. So Texans under 6.5, Colts under 6.5, Jags under 9.5, and Titans over 7.5, but not by much. And I do think Will Levis will be the starting quarterback leading this team into the playoffs. That's a take too. Big Will Levis guy now.
You bring up a good point about the Stroud boy. I kind of want to walk that back here. I did say I thought they both hit. And I think in my mind, I think Stroud can be good, like I said, but he's going to need like so much time because, like I said, they don't have shit around him, and he's dumb as a box of rocks as far as we know, and that might be disrespectful to rocks. So
he's like what we imagine Michael Orr being, like in the Blind Side movie. What Michael Orr appeared to be in that movie, that's what CJ Stroud is in real life. He's just a dumbass.
Yes, it's kind of sad. Not a good look for the prestigious The Ohio State University. Like I said, Anthony Richardson, I also don't think he's going to have a good passing season. I really don't. He wasn't that great of a passer at Florida, but I think he's different. I think he's going to work at it in different ways. And just like Peyton Manning had an awful first year, but Peyton Manning was still a hell of a passer. Don't get me wrong. He's way better passer than Anthony Richardson was coming out of school. But I just think Anthony Richardson got it to improve on his game over the next few years. Obviously, they are going to lose Jonathan Taylor here at some point as well. So I guess that can factor into what you're saying as well. So
I think they're gonna struggle. And they got a first-year head coach that, I don't know, Vrabel's my guy.
Yep.
Going back to the drawing board with that. So
yeah.
All right, we took a little longer on the AFC, but that's kind of deserved. But real quick, before we move on to the NFC playoffs, like what's your seedings here? We'll talk playoffs later, but give me the seedings.
Oh, man, you dumped that one on me.
I can go first if you're not ready.
I'll probably go Bills, Chiefs. Bills, Chiefs,
Ravens.
Jags, because you have to do it like that. And then I'm going to go Jets. I'm sorry, Bengals, Jets, and then Dolphins.
Okay. I got Bengals 1. I got the Bills 2. I got the Chiefs at 3. That might come back to hurt me, but whatever. Chiefs at 3, Titans at 4. Give me the Chargers at 5, the Ravens at 6, and the Jets at 7. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah.
Both
Steelers-
are fun playoffs.
Steelers just missed the playoffs again. Yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, NFC, we'll get to the playoffs later. NFC East, you want to do that? Start off with a bang here? The Beast?
Starting off with the frickin' Beast, yeah. Best division in football last year? It may have still. Would you say this was the best division? Yeah, I would say too. I think they're going to be just as back, Luke.
All right.
Some of these win totals are actually kind of shocking here. I think we might see. They just have such a damn good roster, though. So I will take the. Oh man, but there's the factor of same team that doesn't always win it twice. They just don't. I think this is the year that they do, though. Eagles, I'm going to take the over on 11.5. But just in terms of order, Eagles, fuck it. I'm going to go Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. I'm riding high on my boy. All
right, you're riding high. I'm riding higher. I got the Commanders finishing first, buddy. That's right.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
I've been on this one for a while. I've been containing this take for the longest time. The Commanders, they are on all-time high vibes right now. Dan Snyder just sold the team. They got Josh Harris coming in. Eric Bieniemy coming in from the Chiefs. They have the Chiefs' offensive system now. Obviously not the whole system because Andy Reid's still there, but Eric Bieniemy, Josh Harris. I mean, two most important parts. The only downside is Ron Rivera. I don't think is like a great head coach, but he's good enough to not tank the team. I guess if that makes sense. I'm on the Howell-ban. Sam Howell. I think he's going to have a great year. I mean, this offense is so good. The receivers are so good. I'm huge on the receiving core and their defense. I mean, it's got some questions for sure, but if everything turns out, it's going to be great. And the only reason I don't put the Eagles first, because I mean, obviously the Eagles are the most talented team, maybe in all of the NFL. No team wins this division 2 years in a row. I mean, if you go back, like my entire life, there's been a new division winner every single year. The Eagles got really lucky with injuries last year. They're probably going to get a little bit of the injury bug this year, I would imagine. It's hard to predict that stuff, but I'm calling it right now. They're going to get a little bit of injury bug. They finished second. God, the 11.5. I might have to take the under on that, though. And then...
Yeah, I feel like you have to if you don't have them winning the division.
Yeah.
Cowboys
third.
To do.
Giants fourth. Giants 7.5. I'll take the under. It's tough. I think they'll finish just under. I think they'll be a competitive team, but I really hated that Daniel Jones contract. I don't think they should have signed him to that much money.
See, we both have them in dead last year in the division. I can't actually put my finger on why we both have them at dead last. I mean, they just had a great season. Fluky, don't get me wrong, very fluky, but Dable somehow did it. And it's not like, did they lose that much? I mean, the defense is just getting, more experience, and they really didn't lose anybody on offense because they got Saquon back.
They got Darren Waller too.
Yes,
which
they
I
got
think
Darren
people are
Waller.
overrating that acquisition a little bit. I mean, he's good, but he's no Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews. He's a solid tight end, but he's not like a superhuman guy. So yeah, under there, Cowboys 9.5. I think I take the over. I think them and the Eagles are going to be close, and then obviously over on the Commanders. But yeah, I think the Eagles and Cowboys both make the playoffs.
Okay,
But yeah,
I don't think I gave mine. But I got Eagles over, Commanders over, Cowboys under 9-8, and Giants over 8 wins, 8-9, maybe 8-1 to be honest.
Okay, so you got
very competitive once again.
yeah.
This is easily a division that could possibly get 3 teams in. It's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
a
they will.
weak NFC this year, if you ask me. So,
Yeah. NFC North. This is obviously the Lions are heavy favorites in this one. I don't know about heavy favorites, but they're favorites. I find it's hard to put them because it's just like the Jags or the Jets. They're the Lions. But I'm so in on Dan Campbell. He's such a good coach. And the players seem to love him. And I mean, really, when you're talking about least flawed team in this division, it's probably the Lions. Their over-under is 9.5, which if you have them winning the division, you're probably taking the over on that, I would imagine. Then I got the Packers finishing second, which might be wishful thinking, but I also have the over on their 7.5. And then Vikings 8.5. Give me the under. Their defense is terrible. Their offense is going to be fine. Their offense is going to be electric, but their defense is just so bad. And that's the same reason I'm out on the Bears and taking the under 7.5. I think Justin Fields is a fine quarterback. I think he's going to be a beast in fantasy this year. But, I mean, people are overrating this Bears team. I mean, Justin Fields is fine, but they're talking about maybe a dark horse MVP candidate. That is a crazy thing to say. They did get DJ Moore. He's all right. He's a good receiver. I don't think he's, a clear number one guy, or at least he hasn't been the last few years. And their defense is god awful too. So that's the one thing about the Packers. They have arguably, not arguably, they do have the second best defense in this division, and they have maybe the best offensive line. The Lions, you could argue that too. But I mean, when you talk about the nitty gritty positions, the Packers are actually pretty good. And I don't know. A lot of this depends on Jordan Love not sucking, but we're big believers in the Jordan Love zip. So, yeah, give me that. So, yeah, over Lions and Packers, under Bears Vikings.
I like it. I think it's pretty well sound what you just said. One of Ron's takes here that he fired off, he just said Lions make the playoffs but are not as unreal as people think they're going to be. So I'm guessing he's thinking like 10-7. So that's going to be good enough to make the playoffs. Yeah. Luke, I don't know what to tell you except that I have Zip winning the division. So I have the over on the Packers.
I don't like that.
I have the Lions coming in second. And then I have the Bears coming in third and Vikings coming in last. And I feel like that's a take. I think it's certainly a take because the Vikings, I feel like, yeah, they didn't really do a whole lot in the offseason, but I feel like they didn't do enough to warrant them going all the way to last place. I think this is a weak division that I think people are very underestimating the Packers. And why do I say that? Because I still think their defense is solid. And I'm a big believer in Jordan Love. I think he has zip. I think he's figured it out some, and I think it might take a couple weeks, and then I think that's all it's going to take, and he's going to be just fine, and they're going to win just enough games to win the division, get in the playoffs, get wrecked probably because they're probably going to play a team that should have won their division that didn't, and then just get demolished at home, but they're going to make the playoffs year one with Jordan Love. And then I had Lions at second, and I think they might be able to sneak in as well. And Dan Campbell's not going to be happy with that result, though, of not winning the division, though, but getting getting into the playoffs is what really matters. Bears and Vikings, I really don't know. That's why I threw them down at the bottom. Bears 7.5. I don't think they're going to win 8 games, so I guess I'll take the under. And obviously, same with the Vikings. I think Justin Fields takes a step forward, but Luke, I don't think it's that big of a step to where people are like, yeah, he's definitely the guy going forward. I think next year it's like all or nothing for this kid. So
Yeah, they got to make a decision on his contract too at the end of the year.
Yeah, like that's just my thoughts on it. I think he's going to take a step forward. They're supplying him with the stuff to help him take that step forward. I don't know if it's as big of a step as they need to make a true playoff push. And the Packers, Luke, I think people forget. Obviously, I don't think you forget because you're a fan of the team, but you have a lot of guys on that roster with playoff experience. They know what it takes to get to the playoffs. And I think those guys that know what it takes to get to the playoffs are going to sit back and try and help Jordan Love lead the team and get them back to the playoffs. They know the formula. Let's help the young guy plug in the numbers so we can get there. And like I said, I'm just a believer in Jordan Love. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited this year as a Packers fan. Obviously, we miss Aaron. He was probably my favorite quarterback ever, probably will be my favorite quarterback ever. But without the expectations this year of going to a Super Bowl, we've had those for the last 3-4 years of going to a Super Bowl. We don't have that this year. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of young guys, and that mix it's a perfect season. We might have a lot of fun, and if we don't, then it's okay. It's a stepping stone season, but so that makes me a little excited for this year. NFC West. The
this
Niners
division's kind of ass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. This one has probably the worst team in football with the Cardinals. Their over/under is 4.5, and I mean, I'm taking the under. I think they're all out tanking. That's the reason why. I think if they win more than 4.5 games, which if they win 5 or more games, I think it's a failure for them. I think they're trying to lose this year. I mean, their number 1 overall pick, they just signed to a long-term deal. Kyler Murray, he's out for at least half the year. I would imagine he's probably out the whole year. He just, fully recovers, gets ready for the next year. And outside of, Marquise Brown is their number 1 receiver. They're really bad. So I think under 4.5 is a huge lock. And then the Rams, 6.5. I know when we were doing the wheel spins, I was high on them. I've kind of regressed. They're kind of old. They're kind of falling apart, and under 6.5 in third place. Seahawks 8.5. I like Geno. Their team's not bad, but 8.5. I've taken too many overs. I have to take this under. And Niners at 10. And you know what? I'm changing this right now. Seahawks win the division. They're going over. Niners go under 10.5. I've been on the 49ers Reddit a lot in the recent weeks. And the 49ers fans do not like Kyle Shanahan. I'll just put that out there. I know we kind of respect him as like a great offensive-minded coach. 49ers fans hate him. They think he's a terrible head coach. They think he's a good play caller, terrible head coach. And I'm kind of seeing it. And they have a lot of uncertainty at the quarterback position. Brock Purdy, can he repeat what he did last year? They're a very talented team, don't get me wrong. They might even sneak in as a wild card. Sneak in. I find that funny. But yeah, under 10.5, you got to have some takes coming into this football season, and that's one of them. Seahawks win.
I don't know. What did Brock Purdy put on tape that makes people think at all that he can't repeat what he did in that offense? That's what I don't get. I'm not saying he's a world beater quarterback at all. I'm just saying he didn't do a damn thing that makes me believe that he can't repeat what he did. Even the injury that he had, it's not an injury that changes your career trajectory forever. It's just not. That's why I think that they'll be just fine. People that don't think Kyle Shanahan's a good coach, I wholeheartedly disagree with them. I mean, the
You have to
players
keep in
love
mind,
him.
this is people that watch every single minute of every single game that are saying this, that he's not a good coach. And I think it's largely, I'll say it because I think he's not clutch. I think he's a terrible clutch coach.
I can agree with that. I can he's struggled in the biggest moments of his career, um, dating, all the way back, obviously, to the Falcons. But I I don't think there's much uncertainty at the quarterback position. I really don't, because if there was, then we'd probably be looking at Sam Darnold as the starter, and because Sam Darnold has really improved these past 2 years, and he's the number 2 man. And if you have the ability to where you feel fine with trading away Trey Lance, which that's on Kyle Shanahan. Although I think Kyle Shanahan back in the day, he really wanted Mac Jones. And Luke, I hate to be that guy, but if Mac Jones was probably on this team, he'd probably be really, really damn good.
True.
Because he could just be fat, and just not have to move around that much. Could be fat and just sling it a little bit. So
And maybe even be a little fat.
yeah, and probably be somewhat fat in San Francisco, which is kind of rare. But yeah, very beautiful people, very beautiful city. Now, one thing I will say about their fans, and growing up, I never liked San Francisco. I never did. I thought what they did to the Packers growing up was borderline war crimes.
It was
And
war
I just
crimes. It gave
never liked
PTSD.
them. I was never a fan of them, rooted against them very hard when the Ravens played them in the Super Bowl. And their fans are just menacing. They they're kind of mean. I think you're kind of seeing this if you're diving into the Reddit. They're kind of vicious online, some of which you just don't really expect. It's like they build up all this anger. They don't display it out and about in the beautiful city of San Francisco, but as soon as they get to the goddamn stadium, it's just like a bomb went off sometimes. I mean, fights in the stands, just saying unbelievably nasty things online and in person. I don't know. I got the 49ers winning the division, Luke, but I do have
Safe. That's safe.
as we
We've
get
right
back
on a
on
limb
track
there,
here.
Cam.
As we get back on track, I've got the Niners winning the division. I think Brock Purdy's the guy. I'll just say it. I think Brock Purdy's the guy in that system. I don't think that's a tough thing to analyze. And one of the great things about Brock Purdy being the guy in that system is all the other money you get to spend on other players because he's the last pick in the draft. You don't have to pay him pretty much jack. Obviously, I got the Seahawks coming in second. I will take Niners over. I will take Seahawks over. I will take Cardinals under, and you know what? Fuck it. I'll take Rams over. I think they can win 7 games. Do I think their roster's bad? Yeah. But guess what, Luke? They also have Sean McVay, and he just went through one of the most painful seasons of his entire life. Probably one of the most worst years of his life. And he's had a really great life, so he probably hated that to no end, and I think he's going to fix it. Is it going to be fixed all the way? Probably not. Probably fixed to third in the division. He's just going to have to live with it, and we'll see what happens next year. But he's going to fix it to some extent in terms of this because he's going to get the over here. And Cardinals are going to go under, Luke, and the Cardinals are going to tank, like you said, and get their first pick. And they're probably going to sell that pick for an ungodly amount of assets.
It would be so much.
It's going to be – it might be – now, I think I've said this before about other players that are supposed to go first. I think I said this, about Bryce Young as well. And don't get me wrong, the Bears got a damn good haul for it. They really did. But I think this is going to be maybe the most expensive first pick ever in the history of the NFL. I'd have to do my research, but in terms of recent memory, I think this is it. I mean, these guys think this guy is Mahomes and some. So, and we're talking about Caleb Williams, obviously. And the Cardinals, The Cardinals, obviously, they just named Kyler Murray a team captain, a guy that's not even going to play this year. They named him a team captain. So they're sticking with him. And honestly, I don't really blame them because you can get all these assets and keep Kyler Murray. And if you ask me, Luke, yes, do I think Kyler Murray has more potential coming out of college? Or, I'm sorry, Caleb Williams having more potential out of college than Kyler Murray? Yes. The way they play is fairly similar. Kyler Murray is built different in terms of he's much smaller, and I'm not going to go into his physique and that one image that came out a couple weeks ago, but let's just say Caleb Williams is not that, has a much better build, but what I'm trying to say is they can hold on to Kyler. They can hold on to Kyler, sell the most expensive pick, and just hope that it works and hope that they can build with what they get in return for that pick. And hell, they can probably still have a pretty solid first-round pick even after they sell that pick. I think they'll keep him, which I think is going to be a big problem. I think they're going to keep him all throughout this year because I think they're going to ask him to lose games, and he's going to be like, okay, I will do it. I will lose you games. I will lose you games, and he's probably he's going to go into games with his regular game plan, and he's going to look at his regular game plan and his game plan to lose the game, and he's going to find himself wondering, why are they so closely similar?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. As long as regular game plan and be fine.
As long as the front office only sees his game plan to lose the games and not what his true game plan would be, I think he's going to have a job going into next year. So you got to give it to him. If he can pull off the first pick. Obviously, it's tougher than people think. Obviously, Lovie Smith wasn't able to do it. So there you go. That's the NFC West.
Yeah, I mean, Gannon. They probably, when he went in for his interview, he probably did the pew 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 thing, and he was like, "Hey guys, what's up? I'm gonna win you some ball games," And he probably came in was so happy, and they looked at each other and was like, "This is our guy to get us the number one pick. This is our guy." That's probably why they hired him. But yeah, that's a little off topic there. But let's get back to the NFC South here. I imagine we go through this pretty fast. This is probably the worst division in football. People are picking the Saints to win this one. The Saints over-under is an unbelievable 9.5. I cannot believe that. And that's without Jameis starting. I know that you're a big Jameis guy, but he's not starting. And they have Dennis Allen as their head coach, and he may be a terrorist. So this is an easy under for me, 9.5. Falcons, 8.5. I'm going to go under just because I think that there's only one team that goes over in this, if that. They might all go under. But yeah, I'll take the Falcons under. I'm not an Arthur Smith guy, and I'm not a Desmond Ridder guy. And the Falcons just give off bad vibes. Panthers, 7.5. I got the Panthers finishing first in this division. I've been on this one for a while. This is my D-backs pick of the NFL. Huge on Bryce. The Panthers were good last year. They were a solid team. They almost won the division with Sam Darnold as quarterback. Let's keep that in mind. They had one of the best defenses in terms of points allowed and yards allowed. They got a lot of those pieces coming back. Brian Burns, most notably. But on the offense, I mean, obviously they got Bryce Young. I'm a Bryceist. I'm huge on Bryce Young, as everyone knows. And I think they win the division. The only problem here is Frank Reich is a bad vibes coach. So I struggled. But I think in spite of Frank Reich, I think he actually makes the offense better. And I think they maybe go 8-9 or 9-8 and win the division. So that's over 7.5. And then Bucks, 6.5. I'll take a courtesy under here. I could see them going over. I actually have the Bucks finishing second in this division. Which, I mean, this is another bad vibes head coach. This whole division has just bad vibes head coaches. Todd Bowles, he might get fired this year. But yeah, I got the Saints third, the Falcons fourth, although I am a Bijan guy. But yeah, under on everyone except the Panthers.
Oh, this conference, I know we said we weren't going to talk about this, but I'm giving this the stamp of my sicko division of the year. And I am going to love this division to no end because there's just so many quirks in this division. Now, Luke, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I predicted the Saints to win the Super Bowl last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's who I had to win the Super Bowl last year. That was
I think now that you say that, I think that was right because you were big on Jameis.
That was very much based on Jameis playing. Obviously, he played for like 2 or 3 games, and I think they were afraid that if they did play him and he got hurt, that they would be liable to like a huge lawsuit because he really wasn't supposed to be playing. But that's neither here nor there. So they probably did the right thing and actually didn't play him last year. His back, actually, I think. But now, this is maybe the only line that me and you discussed before the show, and you're right. It's a very thick line here, Saints 9.5. And Luke, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole this year. I'm just not after the mistake I made last year. I'm full with you. I think there's too many domestic terrorists in this country. I think Dennis Allen's one of them.
Hey, yeah.
Maybe a certain there with Matt
company. We won't get into that. You might be a terrorist too.
Yeah. Oh, we might get into that later. Maybe not today. I don't know. I don't know if that's today, but anyway, Dennis Allen, terrorist, Saints under, Falcons. I just don't get the Falcons, Luke. I'm out on the Falcons too. They build this giant, beautiful ass stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. They put a giant Chick-fil-A in there in the stadium. Well, all your NFL games are on Sunday, Luke. You can't even go to the goddamn Chick-fil-A. So that's one of the reasons I've been out on the Falcons over the years. Another reason I'm out on the Falcons is they had a 1,000 rookie yard rusher last year, and they still decided to draft Bijan Robinson, who, don't get me wrong, hell of a playmaker, one of the best running back prospects in a while out of college. Was that your biggest need? Probably not. And so Falcons 8.5 wins is that's way too many for me. I think Desmond Ridder could maybe be a serviceable quarterback. Serviceable is probably his peak in the NFL. I don't think that's this year. Lucas. I think maybe next year.
Desmond Ridder gives me backup quarterback vibes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, career backup quarterback. I mean, Like I said, I think he can be a serviceable NFL quarterback, 13 years in the league, probably with 11 or 12 of them being as a backup quarterback. And you know what? That's fine. Shout out Chase Daniel, made a shitload of money.
It's paid.
Blaine Gabbert, guys like that. But Falcons 8.5, that's too much for me. Panthers 7.5. I've been swayed by not only you, but people on TV recently, and I'm going to go with the over here on the Panthers. And I think I will also have them winning the division. Now, my order is a little bit different than you, but I'm willing to ride with you here on the Panthers.
Let's go.
I think it's been a while since we've gotten to ride the Panthers, but yeah.
Hold on. And then I think that when I first brought that up a few months ago, you laughed at me. So
I did. That was before some acquisitions, though, as well.
I wanted to apologize.
They got some guys. And I'm formally apologizing right here. I'm saying let's ride.
Let's go.
A big part of that has to do with the rest of the division being unbelievably AIDS. But nonetheless, let's ride with the Panthers. Now, Bucks 6.5 has kind of befuddled me. I've been looking at it for a while, and I just don't think they can. I think their peak is 7-10, which would be the over.
That's their peak.
I'm thinking 6 wins here, Luke. I'm thinking 3 wins with Kyle Trask and 3 wins with Baker Mayfield, and they split the L's as well. Todd Bowles has got to go. I don't
Yeah.
think he makes it through the season. And if they do, I mean, that week 18, it's just going to be like a really somber week 18 game with Todd Bowles. I mean, he already doesn't smile. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, it's going to be like the gloomiest, I don't know if he can cry, Luke. I just don't know. I don't know if he has that in him to cry.
No emotion.
I think he's a football guy, but if you can't cry, I don't even think you're a football guy. I don't know what he is anymore. I think he's maybe progressed in his life past football guy, which I hope I never do. But I think he's just, and I want to call him a jag, just a guy. I don't even know if he's just a guy. He might just be a guy. He's kind of progressed to just NPC almost, if you will, in his life.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a football guy anymore, and it's really sad, but I think he should hang it up, anything football related, for the rest of his life after this year. I don't want to see him in a booth. I don't want to see him on TV. I don't want to see him on a sideline ever again. I think this should be his curtain call. I'm going to take Bucks under, Falcons under, Saints under, Panthers over with winning the division. I think the Saints are still going to come in second. And I'm going to go Falcons third, Bucks last. So the Bucks thing is completely over. And that's sometimes what happens when you go all out to win a Super Bowl. But banners fly forever. So at least you have that.
And you got to enjoy Tom Brady for 3 years. So
yes, you did. They really got to enjoy it too. So
all right.
There you go.
Playoffs. What's your seeds here?
All right. Well, I'll take
I have the Commanders and the Seahawks winning the division. What am I going to do for seeds, man?
Yeah, yours is a little confusing, but I'm going to go with the Eagles at the 1 seed, obviously. Niners at the 2 seed. Packers at the 3 seed. And the Panthers at the 4 seed. Isn't that interesting? The Packers at the 3 seed after all the turmoil this offseason. And then at the 5 seeds here, I'm going to have the Commanders, 6 seed Lions. Oh, man, Seahawks, or my 7 seed is going to be the Cowboys, I think. Over the Seahawks. They're going to scrape in. So there you go.
I got some work to do. I'm trying to do the math in my head, and I want to put the Packers in the playoffs, but if I do that, I have to either have one of the Niners, the Cowboys, or the Eagles miss the playoffs, and I think that would just be a disaster for either one of those teams to miss the playoffs. But it would be kind of funny if it was Mike McCarthy. So
that's another thing. I just can't wait to watch him on the sideline, kind of being like fat from week to week, like he likes to lose weight, I feel like, on the road after a win. But like after a loss, this is where Mike McCarthy's good to be fat anytime, any place. After a loss and at home, I feel like he's just extra thick. I don't know what it is, but at home, which is weird because it's indoors and he's still fat. But on the road after a win, he looks pretty good. So yeah, I guess that means that there's only one scenario where he doesn't look super fat. But once again, it's week to week fat, it feels like, for Mike. So I'm excited to see that again. That's really not a take. That's just me liking Mike McCarthy being fat.
Yeah.
And stupid.
I like him being fat too. I think if he was thin, we wouldn't like him as much. I'll be honest.
Not even close.
I kind of want to make the Eagles miss the playoffs. That would be so fun. But they're just so damn talented. They have such a good roster. It would just be a disaster if they missed the playoffs. So
I don't even think that's funny. I'm not an Eagles hater. I don't do anything to me personally that makes me not like them.
I don't either. I like Jalen Hurts too. I think Jalen
I
Hurts is
love Jalen Hurts.
a
I
class
think
act,
Jalen Hurts.
stand-up guy.
Yes, exactly. And what he did in college football, I love it. You know, the way he stayed at Alabama, even when he lost the job and came in and won him the SEC championship that one time. I mean, and then he went to Oklahoma, had a great year as well, got drafted, whatever. But I think he's a great guy. I think they have a lot of great guys on their team. One thing that does bug me is they are like Georgia. They're just Georgia on defense. Not the biggest Georgia fan here, but
Yeah. All right. I'll get my playoff here real quick, and then we can move on to the Super Bowl. And I think we're going to just skip MVP because I don't really care. And we're going a little overtime here. Give me the Lions as the 1 seed. I'll drink that Kool-Aid. I was drinking the Florida State Kool-Aid last week, and it paid off. So, yeah, give me the Lions as the 1 seed. They'll get the bye. Give me the Seahawks as the 2 seed. The Commanders at the 3 and the Panthers at the 4. And this wild card situation is going to get interesting because I don't want to. I like Jalen Hurts so much.
Your wild card situation's getting hairy really
It's getting
fast.
real hairy. I want to pick either the Eagles or the Niners to miss the playoffs because I think one of those teams is just going to be decimated with injuries. And you know what? I can't pick against Jalen Hurts. He's just so nice.
Yeah.
He's just so. I'd let my daughter date him. I don't even have a daughter, but I let my daughter date him.
Shout out Coach Drinkwitz again.
Yeah, so I'll get the Eagles as the 5. Give me the Cowboys as the 6 and the Packers as the 7, and the Niners miss the playoffs. It's my take. Commanders division champions. Seahawks knock out the Niners out of the playoffs. I don't know. They're kind of a team. They have injuries a lot. You're with me on that. They have really bad injuries, and if they lose,
they do.
A guy like Nick Bosa or Fred Warner.
I feel like so do the Seahawks, though. They get injured too a lot. I feel like.
Here's the thing: Christian McCaffrey, big injured guy. 49ers, big injured team. Something bad is going to happen with him this year.
Kittle
Samuel, kind of been an injured guy.
Kittle, kind of an injured guy as well.
Kittle is an injured guy. Trent Williams, kind of old. He could become an injured guy.
Could be, yeah.
Bosa just signed a big extension. I don't know. I'm not going to say that. But they lose Bosa or Fred Warner. Their defense just gets that much worse. Debo, they really overused him the last few years. He could be an injured guy. Kyle Shanahan may be on the hot seat after this year. That's my prediction. I hate the 49ers too, so that might be out of spite. All right.
Yeah, I think that one's coming from a place of hate, but that's okay.
It was.
You need that every once in a while.
Yeah,
that's football.
It felt good. I'll say that. I did not expect to have that coming into this at all, but here we are. All right, man. So you want to just do the championships and then the Super Bowl prediction,
sure,
and move on to Week 1 predictions.
Sounds great.
This episode's getting a little long here, but you know what? It's fine because it's football. Football's back. It'll be a great episode for the people getting ready for the Thursday night game, Chiefs Lions. In the AFC, I gotta remember my seeds here. I have the Bengals winning, going to the Super Bowl, and see if they're the 1 seed. It means the Bills and Chiefs play each other, which means I have I'll take the Bills. Bengals over the Bills. I don't like that. I don't like Bengals over the Chiefs. We'll run it back. Except this time, Patrick Mahomes has to go to Cincinnati. The first time in his career he plays an AFC Championship game on the road.
He hasn't played a single playoff game on the road besides the Super Bowl.
It's insane
because he had to go to Tampa Bay. But I'm gonna go with. I don't know if this works with my seeding either or not. I can't really remember. because I really wanted to go Chiefs-Bengals for my championship. I actually have, I want to say the Bengals, I'm going to have them knocking out the Ravens in the playoffs, and the Ravens got the higher seed. So I got
Same,
Chiefs-Bengals,
yeah.
and
Twinsies.
but I have Chiefs going. So
All right.
I have Chiefs going, and then I'll do my NFC, and then you can do your NFC. I will take. Oh shit! Maybe I should have had you go first. I will take.
I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do.
I think I will take the Eagles.
Rematch
Versus the Commanders.
Whoa!
Is that possible?
I guess
if I had the Eagles winning, I think it is possible if they go the gauntlet.
If your 6 or 7 seed wins in the first round, then yes, that is possible.
This is so Homer. Oh my god!
No way.
Come on. Yes. I've got the Commanders over the Eagles. And
I've definitely want to end up like the Saints.
I have this time I'm gonna take the easy way out, I think. Oh, but do I? I was right last time I did this. I took the Lakers all the way to the finals, or the Western Conference Finals, and I was like, I got them get like swept. Yeah, I still think the Chiefs are gonna repeat for the first time in a very long time. A team is gonna repeat in the Super Bowl. So there you go.
You know what? You can't go wrong with that, though. It's a safe pick all the way through.
I think they're gonna get it all figured out. I just want to point this out. I think they're gonna get it all figured out when it's all said and done. I think Chris Jones is gonna be on the roster for this season. I think Travis Kelce at the end of the road is probably going to have like 1,500 yards receiving somehow. He might miss a few games. I don't even know how that's going to work. And I think they may have a secret weapon in Justin Ross. Shout out Justin Ross. Justin Ross, obviously.
Maybe. But he's still a free agent in our fantasy league, though. I've been eyeing him for quite a few days now.
Oh yeah,
he's just like. Yeah. Whoever picks him up, the whole league's gonna go, damn it. Just waiting. Man, I got a dilemma here in the NFC. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. I got the Lions as the 1 seed. You know what? I'll go. I think the Panthers are gonna beat the Eagles in the playoffs. I think the Panthers are gonna go to the divisional round, and then who are they going to play? I got the Seahawks and the Commanders winning the division. God, what the hell did I got a little too excited, I think. We'll go Lions in the NFC Championship against the Panthers. Yeah. Either the Packers or Cowboys upset. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't really care at this point, but Packers or Cowboys win a game.
You've got Bryce Young having Cam Newton-like success plus some in his rookie year, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to get some lucky breaks in the postseason. And then, you know what? Let's send the Lions to the Super Bowl. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. You're in the Kool-Aid. You're not even drinking. You're living in the Kool-Aid.
I am Kool-Aid man right now.
You are the Kool-Aid man.
I'm breaking through a wall here. But then obviously I have the Bengals winning over the Lions. I think if the Bengals Lions happens, I think it has to be Bengals. I mean, they're going to be so more. The Lions are just going to be a happy to be there type of, they finally break the curse or whatever. Man, the Lions have won one playoff game since 1957. Yeah. That's almost everyone that is living right now.
Shout out JFK.
Yeah. Since JFK died, they've won one playoff game, and I have them winning 2 this year.
Yeah. You know what, Luke? If that Super Bowl happens, I'll be okay with it in the sense of, well, first off, I wouldn't be okay with it because I hate the Bengals. But like the past few times, when it was Bengals Rams, I was just conflicted to no end. On who to root for. I can root for the Lions. I can root the hell out of the Lions to win that game. And fun thing to point out, that'd be whoever wins that game, that's their first big bowl. That's their first Super Bowl. So I think both of them have won championships, NFL championships, but never a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. God, that's so stupid. So, why am I picking two teams who've never won a Super Bowl playing against each other? That's so dumb.
I mean, I have a team in there though as well. At the same time, that their win total is 6.5. So,
it's true.
Grain of salt here. With a grain of salt, that's what you got to take it with our picks here.
Hey, you got to throw a little bit of you got to go out on a limb here if you want to be successful in the media business, right? If they're right, they'll look at you like a prophet. If you're wrong, then they'll look at you like they look at you now as an idiot. So.
Yeah, it doesn't really change anything.
All right, so we are at an hour 20. So one thing we do have to do is we have to run through the week 1 predictions here. My hope is to not really have a lot of explanation behind them because it's week 1, so it's kind of just like we'll pick this based off vibes. If you remember how we did it last year, one person this week it's going to be Cam, but we'll alternate it, gets to pick. And the other person gets 2 vetoes. This week, since it's week 1, you get 4 vetoes, though. And the other person gets 2 reverse vetoes. They can cancel out the veto, kind of like in Congress, like if the president vetoes something, if 2/3 of Congress, they can just, be like F you and overrule it. That's kind of what the reverse veto is. So, yeah, Cam, you're first up. Give me your picks.
I don't know if you're going to veto this or not because you're in the Kool-Aid. I'm taking the Chiefs. They're at home. They have all this adversity. Chris Jones isn't on the team. Travis Kelce's probably not going to play. And Patrick Mahomes still wins the goddamn football game. And it'll probably be close. And Dan Campbell is probably going to say something after this game.
He's probably going to cry.
He's probably going to cry, and that's okay. And it's probably going to light the fire under the football team for the rest of the season for the Lions.
Yes. I think that there's no way they go to the Super Bowl unless they lose this game. If they win this game, they're going to get way too high for their britches.
I think that is a great, great take. Also, important to point out, had to do extensive research to find this one because we're almost said the R word there. We're very dumb. And we've apparently never actually tweeted out our final record. We just hoped the fans would interpret it off the last graphic here.
Oh, yeah.
But we went 159 and 97 last year, so we're going to try and top that. I guess that is good. We didn't even have 100 losses. But
the only thing is, I don't think that includes week 1. I think we started week 2 last year. We'll have to do the math on the amount of games.
But... That is true. No, you're 100% correct. That is a real take. That's a real fact. Okay. I don't know how you even remembered that, but that's real.
So we definitely would have went over 100 losses.
Yes, we would have. Yep, but over 160 wins too. So
true. So yeah, let's start.
Okay, so Kansas City, we have them winning. Carolina, Atlanta. Luke, I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you, Bryce's. Not week 1 though. I'm going with Atlanta here. I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm riding with the Panthers. It's week 1 for everyone though, and you got to go on the road. Rookie quarterback, 1 p.m. I think Atlanta's going to win that game.
Yeah, I agree with you. This gives me the vibes of a really low-scoring game that Younghoe Koo lines up. They're down like 16-17, and he lines up and they win 19-17. That's what I see happening.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Next game, Cincinnati at Cleveland. Let's go Cincy here. You feel good about that one?
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about that one. Even though they're on the road. Let's see here. Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Colts at home week 1, but Jacksonville's just more experienced, even though I think we both kind of think that Jacksonville's going to shit down their leg a little bit this year, but I feel like some of that's probably not going to happen until later in the year. And shout out to that Delta Airlines flight in terms of shitting down their leg. Tampa Bay at Minnesota.
Wait, so you have Jacksonville in that game?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I don't care about that game, so I don't care.
Tampa Bay at Minnesota. This is a mid-off, but I think I'm going to take Minnesota because they're at home.
Give me Kirk.
Yeah. Next game here, we have Tennessee at New Orleans. Okay, this is a shit bowl. I kind of need your help here. I'm almost just leaning towards. No, I think this is a Vrabel game. What do you think? Because
I agree. I think
Dennis Allen, terrorist. We just went in on that.
These rosters are similar. You got to pick the better coach, and it's Vrabel.
I don't care that it's on the road. I just don't.
It's almost better
San
for
Francisco
the
at Pittsburgh. They did just sign Nick Bosa, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Pittsburgh has been preparing all week like Nick Bosa was already going to play. Kenny Pickett, 5 drives, 5 touchdowns here in the preseason, week 1 at home. Give me the Berg, Luke. What are you thinking?
I'm all in. I like Mike Tomlin. And I think the 49ers have to lose these types of games. They're going to miss the playoffs. So, yeah. I'm with you.
All right. Arizona at Washington. Let's go. Halliburton.
Yep.
I love that. I love that we're both in the Halliburton. That makes me so happy.
It's going to be bad, though. That makes me feel.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. Houston at Baltimore. Baltimore. I can't wait to watch some of these games just go the complete opposite direction in week 1. That's always my favorite.
I think you have to take Baltimore here, Cam.
No, I know I did, but it's just that's a spot. That's a spot where just weird shit might happen where it's like 10-7.
Yeah, you're right.
1 minute, 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter and nothing's happening. And it's like a fumble for a touchdown recovered by the Texans. They win like 14-10.
Hear me out. Ravens blow out the Texans and everyone starts talking about, did we underrate the Ravens coming into this year? And then, boom, they just lose next week or something.
I like that. I don't think Baltimore can blow out anybody. Not just because it's the NFL. Their offense has just been like so stagnant over the past few years. And I know I picked them to win the division. That's because I just believe in their defense is always so prideful. And they're just so goddamn gritty. That's the respect I have for Baltimore as a fan. But Green Bay at Chicago, I have absolutely no idea. And a big part of this, like I said, I'm a believer in Zip and Jordan Love, and I picked them to win the division here. The Packers kind of set themselves up to lose this game a few months ago. Yeah, when Jordan Love called Chicago, his dad, pretty much. Everybody has those receipts. Yeah, everybody has those receipts ready. I think, are we reading too much into this? I don't know if we are. Nope, I think I might just take Chicago. I think this is one of their only wins of the year.
Yeah, this is a game where the Bears are going to win.
If we get this wrong,
and the Bears fans are going to get very high because they haven't beaten if they do beat the Packers, it's a rare occasion, and if they beat Jordan Love's first ever real start, because the Kansas City one didn't count, let's be honest. They beat Jordan Love in his first real start. They're going to be so confident. Be like, Justin Fields is the guy. This is our division now. We're better than the Packers. And then it's just going to set up for a complete reversal the rest of the year. So, yeah, I got Chicago.
Yeah, okay. I'm 1 week from now, I'm scrolling the timeline and just seeing the "you just lost to Bustin Fields" memes. The one where he's just sliding in the water, and
Yeah,
then they're gonna. This is the team that the media predicted to only win 3 games. It's going to
exactly.
be a situation like that.
Yep.
So yeah, Las Vegas at Denver. Okay, so Las Vegas at Denver, 425. These games are always at 425 over there. I bet Ron would have the Raiders in this one. But I got Denver, Luke. Like I said, I think I had them second in the division and their win total over. I think Russ is hashtag back. And you know what, Luke, maybe most importantly, I think this is going to secure at least one more year of Jacob Michael Baldwin being a Denver Broncos fan. He's going to get back on that high horse of his and stay a Bronco fan, because deep down we both know he wants to tail the Bears. He wants to become a Bears fan simply off of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But this one's going to draw him back in. And I've got Denver winning here in week 1. So there we have it.
I will just give a prediction for the rest of the year. I'm picking against the Raiders every single game. And I understand I'm going to be wrong on occasion, but I'm willing to take that. I'm against every single game. So yes, definitely Denver.
Yeah, I always loved last year when we would, even before we would start the show, it'd be like week 3 and we'd be like, all right, we've seen enough. We're not picking Arizona until they do this.
Yeah.
And it would be like 13 weeks before they did it again. All right, let's see here. Philadelphia at New England. Wow. This is a big game. I'm going to go with Philadelphia. And this is a toss-up. I don't feel 100% on this one. What are you feeling here?
I'm
going to take
I
Philly.
can go either way.
Yeah.
I'm going to veto you, though. I'm going to go home team here.
Okay.
I think Bill's going to get nitty-gritty. I think he's going to out-coach Nick Sirianni in this one. That's what I'm going with. So.
Man, yeah. I know I said I wasn't on the high horse on this pick, but I almost want to double veto it, but I'm not going to. That's the first veto. I think that one should stand.
All right, New England. Next one.
Miami at LA Chargers. Oh my gosh, the turf in this game is going to look fast as hell. There are going to be some fast people running on this field. This might be the fastest game of the year. I think you said the Chargers are going to be undefeated here through the first few games. I don't know how you look at this and see Miami as an easy game.
This is one of the harder ones. But it's at LA, so.
What the hell does that mean for the Chargers?
They don't have to go to Miami.
Okay, I guess, yeah.
Fly all the way across the country.
I think I'm going to go Miami here, and the reason why I'm going to go, before you veto it, because I know you said that the Chargers are going to be undefeated here to start the season. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can sway you real quick. The Dolphins are going to have to be wearing their white uniforms, which means it's not going to be candy ass running all over the screen. It's going to be traditional, just the white, teal helmet running across the screen. Going to be fast. Going to have Tyreek Hill. Going to have Jalen Waddle. Tua is going. He's coming off a full off season for his brain to heal. We're going to be seeing the most highly functioning Tua we've seen in a while. And I just want you to keep in mind, no candy-ass uniforms in this game. The only team that's really going to be wearing candy-ass uniforms is the Chargers.
With the powder blues?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, they're beautiful.
Fast uniforms, too.
They're beautiful jerseys. Don't get me wrong. I love powder blue. It kind of stings a little bit more when they lose in those uniforms. So I'm going to go with Miami. I don't know if that was enough to convince you, but I'm going to go with Miami.
You could reverse veto if you want, but I got the veto here.
Okay, I'm going reverse veto.
All right.
I tried. It's
the beauty of it.
And was there a lot of football analysis in that one? No, but it's kind of just it's a vibe game.
If you want football analysis, go to one of the professional football like ESPN, NFL.com shows. This is not football analysis. This is winning analysis.
This is vibe check week 1.
Yeah.
We didn't even I think that may have been why we were okay skipping week 1 picks last year. Like we missed it and we were like, it doesn't really matter because we didn't know shit anyway. But LA Rams at Seattle. I think I just want to take Seattle.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Seattle. Although this is, the beginning of the season, probably a very big spot for Aaron Donald to have 3.5 sacks. But kind of back to the same old here, Luke. Their uniforms are really, really ugly. So, and I hate Stan Kroenke. He wins all the time, coming off another championship. Yeah, let's just go Seattle. Next pick, Dallas at New York Giants. So that's Sunday Night Football. I did not know that.
It's kind of mid-game to start off the Sunday Night Football.
We say that, but these two teams are probably going to be good. I mean, they were both damn good last year. Both. It's kind of wild of you to say, especially calling any Sunday Night Football game mid to start the year off when we've missed football this much. It's kind of crazy to call two returning playoff teams a mid for Sunday Night Football. But I'll let you say it. But
I mean, this might be the heaviest coaching matchup for a Sunday Night Football game maybe ever. So
those. And the thing about Dable though is I don't think he gets fatter. Obviously, Mike McCarthy gets fatter. We already talked about this. I just think Dable's head gets shinier as the year goes on. I don't know how that works, but it does. It's just something I picked up on from last year, which you think it would be the opposite. You think it would get less shiny because, like, during the beginning of the season, it's hotter, you're more sweatier. But I swear to God, by the end of the season last year, I mean, it was like a goddamn light beam off of Dable's head. So, especially in that against the Vikings. So, that's the best. Which fat guy should we take here? I really don't know. I'm almost deflecting it. What do you think?
I was just going to roll with whatever you picked. I think we just take the default Giants at home. Media talks about
the home team.
Yeah. Media talks about Dallas. Oh, is Dak the guy?
My God. If they lose this, it's just Dak's going to take a beating on Monday morning.
You know what? No, let's take the Cowboys. I think Dak's going to have a strong start to the year.
Okay. I was leaning toward Dallas once I started realizing what the media was going to do.
Yeah,
I don't know why that played a factor into it, but it just did.
Me too. This might be the game of the week here, though.
Yes, it is.
Hell of a way.
Besides Chiefs-Lions, I'm excited for that one, like to no end. Buffalo at New York Jets. Luke, it's the Jets, right? I mean, at home on 9-11.
I think the Jets are going to have a slow start to the year, but I'm not going to veto that if that's what you want to do. That would just be – it would almost be too perfect.
It's almost like for America.
Yeah, but, I mean, you have to think New York. They have all this hype. They have the Hard Knocks. They have Aaron Rodgers. They have the Garrett Wilson, all that stuff coming in. They played the Buffalo Bills, who have been the king of this division for years now, still the favorites for this division. Week 1 on 9/11, and they win. That's probably their peak of the season. You have to.
That's NFL rigged as well, and it just came back to me that
the script.
I hate to be that guy, but the stadium's not even in New York. So the only stadium that is in New York in this game is in Buffalo. So I'm gonna go with Buffalo. They're gonna.
This is
I
also.
don't even want to make it. I don't even want to make a 9/11 joke. But yeah, they're
This
just
is
gonna wreck the
DeMar
party.
Hamlin's
I
first game
guess.
back.
I don't know.
So.
Oh yeah,
Week 6
that
probably.
won't be a story at all. Yeah, I did see a stat that I'm just gonna say it because DeMar Hamlin gets all this talk, and he should. He died and came back to life. But quarterbacks did have 148.3 passer rating when targeting him last year. I know he's got like some heavy odds to possibly win comeback player of the year, which I think it's fair even if he has a mid-year because not many athletes have died and come back to life. I mean, we're looking at a select few list here. We're looking at guys. Jesus died, came back to life, and then I can't really think of another one of an athlete. DeMar Hamlin. He didn't die on the field though. He was close. He was gonna die. I mean, yeah,
but he wasn't on the field. That's true. Jesus died on the field.
Jesus literally died on the field. DeMar Hamlin died on the field. So I guess maybe that's why he has such good odds to win comeback player of the year. But
Hank Gathers didn't come back to life.
No, Len Bias stayed dead. There's some athletes just can't do it. But DeMar Hamlin was able to do it.
Built different.
Jesus was able to do it. So I guess, yeah. Now that I keep saying that, I'm like, no, yeah, I guess that does make sense. So yeah, and that's the week 1 slate.
You're going Buffalo? You switched it up?
Yeah, I went Buffalo.
Okay. I like that.
All right. We have it.
So recap, we got the winning teams, the Chiefs, Falcons, Bengals, Jags, Vikings, the Tennessee Tits. I forgot that we called them that. Pittsburgh, the Commanders, Ravens, Bears, Broncos, Patriots, Dolphins, Seahawks, Cowboys, and Bills. And that's week 1. Hopefully it'll be great. I can't wait. And then one last thing that we're gonna do here, we're gonna do a little bit of a draft. This is gonna be a little bit of a competition here, me versus Cam, and it's for the listeners. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do a little snake draft. We're each gonna take 4 team total win totals, the over/under picks. We can't pick the same ones, obviously. And we're going to pick our top 4 locks, quote unquote locks. And I mean, whoever has more at the end of the year wins, and the loser is going to have to do a punishment. It's undecided yet. We'll think of one. It's not going to be like too hard, but it'll be something that, maybe you can get, for the viewers, for the listeners. So Cam, I will let you have the courtesy of going first here.
I appreciate that because I think we both know that you are the better gambler here. So,
yeah, definitely.
Totally. I'm going to, God, there's 2 picks that I really, really want. And I think you might just straight up take it if I don't. But I just think this one I can't believe that it's even sitting at this. So, we've already talked about it. I'm going to take Bills over 10.5 to start.
That was my 1-1 as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I got 2 picks here, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Commanders over 6.5.
Fuck.
A little exciting over there, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the Cardinals under 4.5.
Okay, I needed that. I'm glad. I'm okay with that second one. I'm very high on this pick. I'm going to be taking under 9.5 for the Saints. That was my pick that I was scared that you were going to take. Thankfully, you did not. And I mean, I don't really feel super high on this, but I think I might still do it. I'm gonna go ahead and draft Panthers over 7.5. That's not a fucking lock, but I'll take it.
No, I wanted that one though. That's the thing. I got two more here. I'm gonna go with another under, and I'm gonna do the Raiders 6.5 under. I think there's no
Funny
way.
under.
There's no way this team wins 7 games. That's unbelievable that it's that high. I got a little work here. I got a little bit of a dilemma here for my fourth pick. I got a few options I could go. There's not a lot that I'm confident in, though. That's the thing. I may just
calling it a lock is
this is
unbelievable wordplay.
Like I kind of want to take the Packers, but then like that would just be that's just a homer thing. So I want to take the Chargers too, but you know what? We'll go Bengals over 11.5. I'm not, that's a lot, but I mean, I have them as my Super Bowl winner and number 1 seed in the AFC, and I feel like if they win that division, they have to get at least 12 wins. So I'll go with it.
I had another pick lined up, but I don't want to win with the pick that I was going to take. It included the Browns. So I'm going to actually go over 8.5 wins with the Steelers. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and be a homer, and that's okay because it's not the Browns. I don't want to have anything to do with the Browns. If I'm ever successful, I don't want it to be because of fucking Brownie the Elf and Deshaun Watson, that predator. So I'm staying away from it.
So. You want to do a tie? Since we only are doing 4, you want to do a tiebreaker, like just in case?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
I guess I'll go first
here, since you got first pick.
But the snake, you got to respect the snake.
Do I?
I think you got to respect the snake.
All right, fine.
I can't remember what's all left on the board here, to be completely honest, but I am going to go with
Don't overthink this one. Just a tiebreaker.
I'm thinking this one through kind of hard. I'm going to go over 7.5 Titans.
Okay. I am going to go under 9.5 Browns. I'm going to do the Browns one, just in case. I was debating between this one and the Bengals, but I was like, the Bengals. I had 2 unders already, so I didn't want to do it. But you know what? If it comes down to it and we tie in the 4 picks, I want Deshaun Watson's failure to be the reason that I win. So that's our picks. May the best gambler win.
I feel like though if you win off the Browns, I'm gonna be double mad at you. So
but it's the under.
I know, but I still okay. That's fine. That's fine. All right, that's our preview. There it is.
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I hope everyone enjoys this wonderful NFL Week 1. And we'll be back with you guys next week. I think we're going to have a rundown. We're going to have a recap, and then obviously the Week 2. We're going to be back to the fall episodes like we were last year. Maybe even recording during Thursday Night Football. That may have to happen too. Everyone, hope you enjoyed the episode, and leave a subscription and YouTube. That would be very helpful. I don't want to be that guy to be like, smash the subscribe button, but it's cool if you enjoyed the show. And you, especially if you're a listener, like subscribe, and we'll see you next week.